If you told me 3 months ago that my quiet Sunday brunch would end with me being screamed at over a lemon tart and disowned by half my family, I'd have laughed in your face. But here we are, and I'm the villain now, apparently because I told the truth. So here's what happened. My cousin Ava was getting married. Big wedding. Lace, flowers, overpriced rustic barn with string lights, the whole 9 yards. She's always been the golden girl in the family. Top of her class, Ivy League, started her own boutique PR firm that mostly sells Instagram filters to tech brothers. And don't get me wrong, I like Ava, or I did, until I realized her idea of family loyalty involved a lot of secrets and me playing dumb to protect her curated image. 2 weeks before the wedding, Ava invited me out for coffee. Not unusual, we grew up close. Except this wasn't a catch-up meeting. This was a bombshell drop, disguised with almond milk lattes. She told me she cheated on her fiancé, Liam, twice. Once with an old college flame just for closure, and once with her ex's best friend, because it kind of just happened and I felt really seen. Then she laughed, like she was confessing to stealing lip gloss in high school, not detonating her own relationship. And then she looked me dead in the eye and said, "But we're good now. He doesn't know. And I don't think he needs to, right?" I didn't answer her then. I just stared at her. Ava has always been the type to assume people will clean up her messes because they're too afraid of what happens if they don't. But I'm not 17 anymore, and this wasn't lip gloss. This was someone preparing to walk down the aisle under false pretenses and expecting applause. I didn't tell Liam. Not then. I wrestled with it for days. Talked to my therapist. Talked to my cat. Didn't talk to Ava. But it kept gnawing at me. Especially when I watched Liam post some long Instagram caption about how lucky he was to marry the love of his life. I felt sick. He's a genuinely good guy. He sent me soup when I had COVID. He helped my mom when her car broke down, without being asked. He deserved the truth. So I told him. I sent him an email, not because I wanted drama, but because I wanted a paper trail. I laid it all out, what Ava told me when she told me and why I felt he had a right to know. I even offered to talk if he had questions. He never replied, but Ava did. 3 hours later, she showed up at my apartment. Not crying, not apologizing, furious. She screamed at me on my doorstep loud enough for the neighbor's dog to bark. Called me a bitter snake, a jealous loser, a family traitor. Said I destroyed her life because I couldn't stand to see her happy. I shut the door in her face and poured myself a drink. Then the calls started. My aunt, my mom, even my grandma, who hasn't used her phone without help since Obama's first term. They all said variations of the same thing. How could you? Why would you do this now? Ava's devastated. You've humiliated the whole family. Liam called off the wedding. Quietly, respectfully. No Facebook announcement, no rant. He just backed out. Ava told everyone he got cold feet. No one's buying it. I haven't been invited to a family gathering since. I wasn't at Easter brunch. I wasn't at Grandma's birthday. Apparently I'm too toxic to be around now. My mom texts me occasionally, always in lowercase, always tense. No apologies. Just updates I didn't ask for. And the wildest part? I don't regret it. It sucks being the one who tears off the mask and gets blamed for what's underneath. But Liam deserved to know what he was walking into. And I'm done letting family guilt bully me into silence. Let them call me the villain. I sleep fine. Better than Ava, I bet. Well, guess who just found out she's back on the group chat, but not really back. More like silently added as a scapegoat-shaped piñata for everyone to whack when they're bored. I woke up this morning to 37 unread messages in the family thread, which had been suspiciously quiet since the Ava incident. As I now call it, and yes, it deserves capital letters. I scroll, thinking maybe someone finally died and I'm being looped in for legal reasons. Nope. Ava just got a new haircut. That's the headline. The group chat was essentially a shrine to her new fresh start pixie cut, complete with filtered selfies, heart emojis, and a suspicious number of people saying she looks stronger now. Okay. It was clear they re-added me just so I could witness the passive-aggressive phoenix rising from the ashes. But plot twist, I stayed. I didn't say anything. I just watched. And that apparently made me even more suspicious, because within the hour, my cousin Lindsay messaged me privately to ask, "Are you going to apologize at some point? It's gone on long enough. Apologize for telling the truth, for doing the thing none of them had the spine to do." I didn't respond, because I figured anything I said would get screenshotted and passed around like the family gossip version of a viral meme. But here's the actual update. I heard from Liam. Out of nowhere, late last night, I got a message request on Instagram. I nearly ignored it because I assumed it was a bot selling crypto. But it was him. Short and simple. "Hey, just wanted to say thanks. You didn't have to do what you did, but I'm glad you did. It hurt like hell, but I'm better off now. Hope you're doing okay." I sat there staring at that message for a solid 5 minutes. Because for the first time since this whole thing imploded, I felt like someone saw me not as a troublemaker or tattletale or bitter cousin, but just as someone trying to do the right thing. I responded with something equally simple. "Thanks for saying that. I wasn't sure you'd ever speak to me again. I'm really glad you're doing okay. And now I know he knows. And he's okay. Not broken. Not bitter. Not quietly trapped in a marriage built on lies. That makes all of this worth it." Meanwhile, Ava's still out there playing victim on social media with captions like, "Sometimes the hardest goodbyes are the ones you never thought you'd have to say," over boomerang videos of her sipping wine. If she gets any more cryptic, she'll start speaking in hieroglyphics. As for me, I'm doing fine. Still not invited to Sunday dinners. Still the black sheep. Still persona non grata in a group chat full of lemon-tart truth deniers. But at least I know who I am. And as lonely as that sounds, it's a hell of a lot better than being surrounded by people who only love you when you lie. Let's see what they pull next. I've got popcorn and free time. So remember how I said I was just watching the group chat in silence like an anthropologist observing a particularly chaotic species of suburban narcissist? Well, turns out silence is louder than I thought, because apparently my lack of reaction was taken as emotional terrorism. According to my Aunt Carol, who finally snapped and sent me a paragraph-long message that somehow managed to be both condescending and grammatically offensive. It started with, "I don't know who you think you are lately," and ended with, "We just want things to go back to normal," as if normal ever included Ava cheating, lying, and me holding the emotional trash bag with a smile. But here's the kicker. My mom invited me to have coffee and talk, which we all know is code for sit in a neutral location while I pretend to be Switzerland, but am actually just here to guilt trip you back into submission. Still, I went. Curiosity got the better of me. I wore sunglasses even though we were indoors because, frankly, I was in my villain arc and committing to the look. It started civil. She asked how work was, how my cat was, whether I was still in therapy, which she said with the same tone someone might use to ask if you're still embezzling from your church. Then we got to the real reason she wanted to talk. Ava's getting a second wedding. A new fiancé. A new chapter. And guess who's invited? Everyone. Even you, if you can promise to behave. I laughed. Out loud. In the middle of a Starbucks. She looked startled. Like she wasn't expecting me to have the audacity to find the situation ridiculous. Then I asked her what behave meant. "Don't bring up the past," she said. "Don't cause a scene." As if existing quietly while someone else lies through a $10,000 smile counts as causing a scene. Then she hit me with the line I will now be mentally quoting forever. "You were always a little too honest. It makes people uncomfortable. Too honest. That's my brand now, I guess." I told her no. Not because I want revenge, but because I have zero interest in playing court jester at a wedding built on PR moves and heavily filtered Instagram reels. Ava wants a new narrative? She can have it. Just not with me playing the background character she clobbered for character development. And here's the part one wasn't expecting. As I stood up to leave, my mom looked at me like she didn't recognize me. Like I was someone new. Stronger. Sharper. And maybe I am. I used to flinch at that look. Now, I just held it. I didn't shrink. I just left. Later that night, I got a text from Liam again. He heard about the new engagement. Said it didn't surprise him. Then he said something I'll probably remember forever. "The best thing you ever did for her was stop covering for her. And the best thing you did for me was show me who she really is." I sat with that for a while. The guilt's still there sometimes. It hums quietly under everything like a refrigerator you forget is running. But messages like his, they help. They remind me that breaking the cycle might make you the villain in someone else's story, but it also makes you the hero in your own. Anyway, Ava's planning her next wedding. The family's planning how to ignore reality again. And I'm over here sipping tea and investing in noise-canceling boundaries. Plot twist. I think I'm actually happy. Okay, so you're not going to believe this, but the universe just handed me a front row seat to karma with a side of popcorn, and honestly, I don't even feel bad about how much I'm enjoying it. Apparently, Ava's new fiancé, let's call him Nate, because his real name is so pretentious it sounds like a brand of bottled glacier mist, isn't exactly the clean-cut, all-American rebound she's been parading around social media. I didn't go digging, by the way. This fell into my lap courtesy of cousin Jenna, who is chaotic neutral and cannot keep a secret to save her life, especially when she's 2 glasses of sangria deep and whispering aggressively into her phone like she's in a telenovela. So here's what happened. Nate has a second fiancé. Yep, not an ex, not a situationship. A full-blown other woman he's also engaged to. Lives in Denver. Works in finance. Found out because she and Ava both tagged him in separate, my forever posts on the same day and a mutual friend noticed. The Denver fiancé confronted him. Drama ensued. Tears, threats, receipts. And just like that, Ava's new engagement is now an ex-engagement with a side of public embarrassment. Of course, the family group chat exploded. I stayed silent. Again. Because at this point, I am living for the irony of being called a troublemaker while all this chaos unfolds without me lifting a finger. But guess who did message me directly? My grandma. Queen of casseroles, passive aggression, and pretending not to own a cell phone unless she's bored. She sent me a one-liner that said, "Maybe honesty's not the worst thing after all." No emojis, no punctuation, just pure, distilled grandma shade. I may frame it. Ava, for her part, is back in cryptic posting mode. Her latest Instagram story was a black screen with piano music and the words, "Trust is a delicate thing. Once broken," followed by a red heart emoji and nothing else. I assume she's hoping everyone forgets she was the one who used trust like a chew toy in the first place. And here's the kicker, my mom called again. This time, she didn't ask me to apologize. She didn't even bring up Ava. She just asked if I wanted to come over for dinner sometime soon. Her voice was softer, less clipped, like maybe she's starting to wonder if shielding the golden child from consequences was actually more corrosive than confronting reality. I told her I'd think about it, and I will, but on my timeline. I'm not gloating. Well, okay, I am a little, but only because for the first time in a very long time I don't feel like the problem. I feel like the one person in this whole circus who didn't lie, deflect, or fake it for the sake of appearances. And if that makes me the black sheep, so be it. At least my wool's real. The family drama continues. But I'm just here with my tea, watching it unfold like a season finale I already read spoilers for. And spoiler alert, the truth wins. It always does. Well, here we are. Final update. The dust has settled. The group chat has gone suspiciously quiet. I assume everyone's too busy revising their own origin stories. And I've reached that strange, almost serene place where the chaos no longer feels personal. Just distant thunder from a storm I walked away from in time. And I'm finally ready to put this whole saga to bed. Let's start with the latest. Ava has officially moved to a different city, packed her curated life into a series of aesthetically pleasing moving boxes, and is now starting fresh somewhere with more skyline and fewer people, who know she once tried to gaslight her way through 2 engagements and a broken conscience. According to her latest post, she's embracing reinvention, which I guess is a fancy way of saying she's tired of running into people who still remember who she really is. No wedding this time. No fiancé either. Just a dog, a golden doodle named Gatsby, and a suspicious number of hashtags about healing. She's been quiet, and for once it doesn't feel like a performance. Maybe she's actually reflecting. Maybe not. I don't care either way. I've realized Ava isn't my responsibility anymore. Never was. I was just drafted into a war I didn't sign up for because the family decided she was worth protecting at any cost. and I was disposable. That's not a game I play anymore. As for the rest of the family, it's been complicated. My mom and I had dinner. Real dinner. Not a guilt-laced trap or a performative sit-down where I had to dodge veiled barbs and praise Ava's hair choices. Just dinner. She made my favorite pasta, we talked like real people, and for the first time in what feels like forever, she didn't try to rewrite the past. She just listened, asked questions, didn't flinch when I talked about how exhausting it was growing up next to the golden child glow. I told her about the resentment I carried, the loneliness, the years I felt invisible unless I was cleaning up someone else's mistakes. And to her credit, she apologized. Quietly, awkwardly, but sincerely. That alone was enough to make me wonder if maybe healing is possible, even in this family. Cousin Jenna's still unhinged in the best way. She sent me a meme last week that said, "Sometimes you have to be the villain in someone else's story to be the hero in your own," and followed it with, "You inspired me to ghost 3 toxic people and start Pilates. So that's something." And Liam? He's thriving. Got a new job. Bought a condo. Started seeing someone who, from what I've gathered, doesn't believe in hiding entire chapters of her life in case they mess up her aesthetic. We message occasionally. Just friendly check-ins, the occasional joke, a meme here and there. No bitterness. No weird tension. Just mutual respect between 2 people who survived the same tornado from different sides. As for me, I'm good. Genuinely good. I've drawn lines. Built boundaries. Cut out the noise. I've stopped trying to win a game where the rules always change and the score never counted. I don't show up to things out of obligation anymore. I stopped waiting for the family to understand me or recognize what I did as anything other than betrayal. I know what I did. I know why I did it. And I'd do it again. Because here's the thing. Being the truth teller is lonely until it isn't. Until the people who matter start to find you. Until the people who weaponize peace and silence stop controlling you. Until you realize your voice is more valuable than their approval. So yeah, this is the end of the story. The family still has its golden child, but she's a little tarnished now, a little more human. And I'm no longer the villain in her fairy tale. I'm the author of my own. And this time, the ending's mine. Thank you for stepping into another tale with me. Every story unlocks a different world, and I'm glad you were here for the journey. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to My Stories Unchained, where every ending is just the beginning of another adventure. Until next time, keep your mind open and your heart ready for the next story, Unchained.